And we are back. Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson, Chapter 43, Part 3. Welcome to all those in the future. If you want to read along, go to the site, gurdjieff.thework, scroll to the bottom, find the library, primary text, and you can join in with the PDF we're using. Let's do this. And if you are joining in from the future and you would like to help support the channel, you can donate in one of the links below. Give me your shekels. Now, how's everybody in the chat doing? Howdy Bob. Howdy Tyler. Fine Free Fine. Another guy is here as well. Greetings T-Rex. Where were we last week? We were talking about intellectuals. Intellectuals, and we got to these names. Gurdjieff given them names again. How many are there? 7? There's only 6 this time, so... I wonder if there's a secret 7th name that he gives to people who are too intellectual. Oh, Morgoth in the chat, howdy. Is BLT too pigalicious? Is this too much bacon for our purposes? You can eat bacon, it's fine. Some people like it, you know, it's just got, it's got, what do you call it, negative atoms in it. It's just too dense. I know it doesn't have enough etheric content to supply your subtle bodies, but whatever, bro. It's not gonna do anything negative that other animal meats aren't gonna do. I mean, unless, you know, you get, what is it, not salmonella, but whatever you get from rotten pork or whatever. But nonetheless, oh hey, oof, shekels for me. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, sir. Everyone redeemed the code. Now, where we at? Let's just get into business. Bureaucrats, plutocrats, theocrats, democrats, based, confirmed. Gurdjieff was based. Gurdjieff, you know, his heart goes out to us. I hit my little pop filter there. Also, he uses the term Zeocrats, which I'm pretty sure is not a word, or it's a Gurdjieff word, so it's interesting. Z starts with a Z ending. Zevro, I don't know. If anyone into etymology can give me some insights into that one, that'd be great. And aristocrats at the end. Aristocrats, I mean, look, there's the degenerate form of aristocrats, and then there's the, you know, the warrior poets of old who became the aristocratic class of the old traditional societies. But right now, what do we have? An aristocratic class that is obsessed with what? Lame. The lamity. There needs to be as aristocrats that are obsessed with poetry and philosophy, and then, you know, then we'll get back into making true art. And it's like, I don't know, the people in charge, the people who want to manipulate culture, want to manipulate it in the worst possible way, the lamest way. It's like, instead of neo-gothic, let's just go full brutalist, bro. Lame. Anyway. So these are people who are supposed to be smart, but Gurdjieff is saying they're not. The first of the names enumerated. Oh, howdy, Kimberly. Waving in the chat there. The first names enumerated, namely bureaucrats, is given to those intelligent 6. He uses this word here as well. 19 more. That's right, another guy. 19 more super chats, and I'll give you all a bookshelf tour. If it exists in the future, you know they won. But if it doesn't exist in the future, you know, everyone in the chat, they just, I mean, you could just give, like, I guess, what is it, 19? Oh no, I was gonna say like $19 donations, but there is a minimum donation of 5, so, oh, you're at least giving me 100. So, bureaucrats. They are in whom the series of their ordinary automatic associations already present in them, which engender experiences are limited, that is to say, however varied the shocks coming from, without may be. What? So bureaucrats, they just automatically receive shocks that enter into them. Oh, howdy Morgoth, thank you for the $1. I guess Morgoth is just confirming that it doesn't count if it's just 1. But anyway, Bureaucrats, no matter how varied the external shocks that impacts them are, they don't change. They're just dull. They're blocks of dull wood, is basically what Gurdjieff is saying about bureaucrats. They may seem intelligent, but reality does not touch them. Bureaucrats, reality does not touch them. That is to say, however varied the shocks coming from without may be, associations are evoked in these bureaucrats always of the same experiencings, which, thanks to the frequent repetition, acquire their own specific character, manifest quite independently, without the participation of any separate spiritualized being part whatsoever of their common presence. So that's basically what he's saying there. And as regards the beings of the second enumerated states, who are the plutocrats, that is to say, those also after a certain transformation of their psyche are called by other beings plutocrats. Yeah, so why do they hate, you know, Goofy's dog? Let's see. Then, to the beings thus called, those of the intelligence... Actually, what's the definite term for plutocrat? Tell us your secrets, Google. Plutocrat. A person whose power derives from their wealth. Oh. So that's basically I guess the USA is a plutocracy about now. Hey, Ghoul in the chat, what's up? Oh, Kimberly, donating 5. Thank you very much to Kimberly. You all want that bookshelf tour? Donate. Donate now. Then to the beings thus called, those of the intelligence, there are promoted who previously, during the period of their responsible existence, were able, very artistically, to get all the honest... Oh, okay. Kimberly, doing another 5. Trying to read here, Kimberly. No. Keep donating, everyone, if you want that bookshelf tour. Bookshelf tour, yeah. That's very funny. Alright. We got some enthusiastic people in the chat. So their responsible existence were able, very artistically, to get all the honest, that is naive fellow countrymen of theirs they came across into their toils, thanks to which they become the owners of a great quantity of what is called money and slaves. Yep, pretty much. Feeling Jeff Bezos. Oh! Like Tyler and Kimberly leading the way here. Leading the way, almost a quarter of a way. We're almost a quarter of the way to a bookshelf tour. If anybody else wants to drop some money in, we'll get a little bit farther, just a little bit closer to that bookshelf tour. Here, bear in mind that it is just from the terrestrial types that most Has-Namus individuals arise. When I was there during my investigations, I'm going to finish this sentence, of the questions which interested me, I chanced to learn the secret of the origin of this word plutocrat. Interesting. I guess Pluto, Lord of the Underworld? Is Elon Musk really the Lord of the Underworld, or is that more Jeff Bezos? Thank you, Morgoth, for the another $5. You want to see my most evil book? Okay, I'll show you, but you got to donate. You got to donate. So we're quarter of the way there, guys. We're quarter of the way there. We're almost halfway. Just a quarter is half of halfway. If we can just get to halfway to the bookshelf tour, then we'll be halfway to the bookshelf tour. Can you believe that? As I have already told you, during the last 25 centuries, every suspicious notion and every suspicious thing has, for some reason or other, been called by ancient Greek words. Likewise, these names as bureaucrats, aristocrats, democrats, and so on, which express in themselves suspicious notions, are also composed of 2 ancient Greek words. For instance, the word bureaucrat consists of 2, bureau and chancellery, and krat, which means to keep or to hold. And both of these words together mean those who manage to keep the whole chancellery. And as regards the word plutocrat, it seems that the history of its origin is somewhat different and does not go very far back. Okay, was that another guy? Probably the most evil would be the most freakiest, since Richard speaks of dual cultivation. Nah, I don't got anything that too freaky. Nothing too freaky. Do I have anything really evil, though? It's all good, guys. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. It's just moderate evil. This word was formed only 7 or 8 centuries ago. Okay, so 1200s, 1100s, 1300s maybe. Although these types already existed in ancient Greece, yet they were then called the plutocrats. The plutocrats. And give me some of that plucy, baby. I need it. Several centuries ago, however, when many of these types were developed there, and when it became clear that the other beings of the earth had somehow to dignify them with a title, then those beings there who at that time were in charge of such questions invented for them this name, plutocrat. It seems that they then deliberated and pondered a very long time precisely what name to invent for them. They deliberated and pondered a long time because they already very well understood that these types on their planet are scoundrels of the deepest type, and already, so to say, saturated by every kind of how am I tripping over this? Said it so much. Hasnamoosness. Okay, so that, yeah, it's a hasnamoosness, not a hasnamoosen. We're just talking about the hasnamoosness of a hasnamoosen. To the marrow of their bones. Okay, so they're permanent hasnamoose as well. All of that hasnamoose energy is just in them deep. Was a ghoul in the chat, the most evil book in his library, the big book of British smiles. Actually, I don't have that one. I gotta say, do I have anything like that, though? Not the British. But anyway, this is interesting. So, saying rich people are basically Hasnam, because I mean, you know, if you got to get rich, you got to make a few enemies, I guess. Like Rockefeller made a lot of money doing. He was very philanthropic, you know, him and Carnegie. But then you look at some things he did, and it was very cutthroat. And that, I guess, is his Hasnamoosian traits. It's interesting. It's almost like there's Hasnamoosans that are just black and dark and weird, and then there's Hasnamoosans that, by virtue of the world, they have to have this shiny white exterior. And it's like, do they do... And it's not that they do entirely bad things, and it's like, you can allow them to exist because they do some white stuff, but it's like, it's almost like... It's not that it's the problem that they're black or white, it's that they're black and white, and the white is twisted. And that, in a sense, almost comes out worse. In a way. That's all. I almost feel like that's what, you know, Gurgi is getting to here. In the deep, their marrow is pure Hasnamoosness. Hey, Fine Free Fi. Donating $5. There is no bookshelf. That's it, guys. We made it over a quarter of the way there. Over a quarter of the way there. We're almost halfway, guys. Keep donating and we'll get to halfway. We'll get to halfway. I'll just give you half a bookshelf tour. Is that not the middle path? Asks the another guy. The middle path to be a Hasnamoose? No. That's not the middle path at all. That's not the middle path at all. The middle path isn't like, you just got to be both good and evil. That's not what the middle path is. The middle path is to go beyond good and evil. And that's what people, I think, don't understand. It's like the difference... What's the difference... Another guy. What's the difference between mixture and synthesis? What is the difference between mixture and synthesis? Let me tell you the difference between mixture and synthesis. It's the difference between how, when you have a whole bunch of different colors, and they come together like in light rays, and they come together and they make a white ray. But that's what synthesis is. You synthesize everything into the white. Mixture is when you get a whole bunch of like paint and you mix them together and it just makes this gray, black splodge, and it's like bleh. Like when you mix systems together, these people talk about, you know, systems of synthesis. The New Age isn't a synthesis. New Age slop is mixture. It's just bloated. It's just bloated all over, and it doesn't really do what the original stuff intended to do. That's why I kind of like resist stuff like human design, which is like, oh, it's a fusion of chakras and astrology and Kabbalah. It's like, bro, if you actually studied real astrology, there is so much in astrology. It's a complete system in itself. If you study Kabbalah, it's like, and this is the thing about Kabbalah. Kabbalah and chakras, that's not a one-to-one, like, oh, you put the Kabbalah there and the chakras there. No, they're talking about completely different things. Especially in, like, you know, like original, like, Hebraic Kabbalah, that structure of the Tree of Life, that was, like, written in one book by one guy who talked about what the Tree of Life in man would look like after the apocalypse. After the apocalypse, the redeemed perfect man would have a Tree of Life like this, and somehow that got taken. And it's just all Kabbalah is like this specific Tree of Life with a Sephiroth in this order. And it's like, no. The Sephiroth are ultra dynamic and come off and go places. And it's like, they're not chakras. That's not the same thing. And it's just, people don't get it. And it's like the mixture is just bloat. Whereas the synthesis, it's the burning away of the fat. And you just get to this, you get to the, like, the meat, you get to the absolute. Mixture, it's just an undulating ocean of, like, black where you can't differentiate anything. It's not the synthesis goes to the one pulsing, the one kind of light that shines everything down on this black ocean of mixture. That's the difference that we're getting through here. Hasnamusans, they're just mixtures, wrong mixtures. People with causal bodies and objective being reason, they've achieved synthesis. That's what's up. That's what's up. Anyway, rant over. The path of the razor's edge is where you hold the staff in your right hand, but you balance with the left foot. And you go beyond good and evil. You're not just like, I do a right-hand path technique one day, and then the next day I'm going to do a left-hand path technique. No, that's not it, dog. That's not it. You're able to walk you're able to walk around left-handed people and not be affected by them, and at the same time, because you do that and because you're able to absorb the wisdom of evil, you're balancing on the left foot, so you don't fall into the left side, but you also don't fall into the right side and just become someone who crystallizes and gets stuck at a certain level of creation and think they've achieved the absolute and think and then they're like a guru who bends back and kind of, they have some attainment, but then they end up kind of deceiving their students anyway, being like, I am an arhat, and they're actually fucking not. Cough, cough. Anyway. And, you know, teachings that people like that give can be useful, but it reaches a limit. You hit a wall because they're not really an arhat. They haven't reached the limit. There's a long road. A long road for us, guys. And that road, we're going to have to pass it kind of by ourselves. And we get people like Gurdjieff here who help us. But it's like, we got to be, the main thing, the ultimate attribute we need is honesty. Because it's not about people deceiving us. I'm a big dummy-dumb, and we're dumb. We're going to get deceived. But as long as we don't deceive ourselves, that shows for something. That counts for something. Because even if we get deceived by another person, as long as we don't deceive ourselves, it's like, we can still ask the question of, okay, all of the teachings that this person have given me, it's not working. Even if it works for this guy, it's not working for me, I still need to move on. And your self-honesty is still a shield which protects you and allows you to move forward. If you don't have self-honesty, you will get stuck and you'll crystallize just in a stuck point. And you'll either give up or you will become delusional, because that will be the thing that, like, I'm moving forward, right? Or you'll get stuck and just be like, the path is hopeless. It's impossible to self-remember for more than 5 minutes, you either become one of two of those people. You need self-honesty, and you need self-honesty, that patience, and you need that tenacity as well as patience. What's that, like, that alchemical phrase? It is, you must make haste slowly. There's this weird contradiction, but anyway, I'm going off topic and yapping now. let's get back on track. So, at first, in order to dignify them, they wished to invent some... We're talking about plutocrats, by the way. In order to... Some or other very forceful word corresponding to their inner significance. But later, they became afraid of doing so, because these terrestrial types, thanks to what is called ill-gotten gains, ill-gotten gains as well, baby, had already then acquired force and power, far greater, perhaps, than that of their kings. Hey, this is very something here. And they were afraid that if they dignified them by just such a word as would define their real significance, then they might be greatly offended and begin to do still more harm to the other beings. And therefore, they ultimately decided to be cunning and invented this word, thanks to which they could call them by their real name and at the same time appear to dignify them. The mentioned beings of that time achieved this in the following way. As the title of these terrestrial types had of course also to be composed of two ancient Greek words, and as all such names have the ancient Greek word krat as their second half, the order that the new word might strike anyone's eye, they left in it this same ancient Greek consonants. But Pluto is a Roman god, so let's see what he says. The first half, however, of this word is not taken from the ancient Greek, as was usually done, but from what is called the Russian language. Huh? So Roman, not Pluto. Okay. Well, let's see what he says. Namely, they took the Russian word plut. In Russian, plut means rogue. And in this way obtained the word plutocrat. Hold up. Hold up. Whoa. 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 Oh, so it is actually just straight. Was Pluto the god of the Roman god? Pluto means wealth, and krat means riches. I thought Pluto was also, but it's Plotos, not Pluto as in the Roman god Pluto. Interesting, but nonetheless, this Gurdjieffian etymology here, what is he trying to say? Meaning rogue. I mean, it kind of still is the same thing. Except instead of wealth, someone who rules from their wealth. Because how do they become wealthy? They become wealthy not through fairness. Many of the wealthy become wealthy through being roguish. So in a sense, it's one step back, but his etymology is kind of truer than just the plain old, it's a wealthy boy. Anyway, the terrestrial beings then indeed attained their aim as perfectly as possible. Because at the present time, there on your planet, both these terrestrial parasites themselves, oh wow, terrestrial parasites, and also all the other beings of Earth are quite content with this title. Yeah, donate if you are like a Gurdjieff's etymology. These terrestrial monsters are so satisfied with their title that out of swagger, they go about in top hats, even on weekdays. Oh, so you're not supposed to like wear a top hat all the time. Oh my god. I should wear, for my next stream, after we finish this, after we finish Beelzebubs, I'll do a Q&A stream for, you know, a good, like, the Sunday after will be the Saturday after will be a Q&A stream. And then I'll do a, my next stream, maybe I'll do, like, Secret Teachings of All Ages, Manly P. Hall, and I'll just wear a top hat the entire time. That would be great. Donate if you think top hat is a good idea. Maybe that should be another goal, like, stretch goal. Stretch goal. If you donate enough, in my next, the next book I read, I'll wear a top hat instead of my Make Alchemy Great Again hat. And the other terrestrial beings are also satisfied, since they call these freaks by their genuine names, not only without making them angry, but even causing them To strut like turkey cocks. Ooh. Kimberly donating another $5. Another $5 for the book. A little... Sorry, I got a little heart there. There we go. Oh my god. Top Hat livestream. Tyler's on board as well. Tyler's on board as well. Also, we're up to 8 in the donations. 2 donations, and we're halfway to the bookshelf tour, guys. Halfway. So, donate for turkey cocks, guys. Donate for turkey cocks. As regards the third of the names I enumerated, Theocrats. So this is interesting. So theocracies, those who rule by their knowledge of religion more. This is interesting because theology, you know what theology should be? Theology should be like the art of deducing metaphysical laws via reading accounts of other people's spiritual experiences. That's technically what it is, but it's become, because it's this whole thing, what is theology? You're reading other people's experiences, you're not having them. It becomes ultra pretentious. It's almost like people who get into it because they have this impulse like, yeah, I want to learn about the mystics, and it's almost like something that comes from a place of integrity. But then by going through like college theology, they become these ultra pretentious like, oh, you had a dream experience that Jesus came to you. What robe was he wearing? Oh, a blue one. Well, in this book here, it says Jesus comes to you in a red robe, not a blue one. So you saw the devil, not Jesus. And that's like what theologians kind of become. I mean, not all theologians, obviously. But that's what a theology degree often can do to a person. And this is what I'm guessing Gurdjieff is going to say about these theocrats. Gnosticism equal heresiology equal based. Exactly, Gnosticism is based. Ooh, fine free donates. Books. Guys, we are 1 donation off. 1 donation off. Getting to halfway to the bookshelf tour. 1 day now, we'll be halfway. Halfway. We're almost there, guys. Now, where were we? Talking about Theocrats. By this title, those intelligensics, there were then dignified, in whose common presences, in the psycho-organic sense, there proceeded almost the same perturbation as in those who became plutocrats. Okay. Same perturbation, so... Wait a second. Hold up. Is this perturbation is in a state? Anxiety, mental illness. Huh. And also, holy crap, Kimberly and Fine3 both donated. So we are over halfway, guys. Guys, can I just hammer in how important this is? We are over half. We are almost to a bookshelf tour here, guys. This is the closest stream we have ever come to a bookshelf tour. We may never get back here, guys. Oh my god, Ghoul Shadows. Dropping in some money to get to a bookshelf. We are 12 to 20. We are almost there, 3 more and we'll be 3/4 there. That's like, that'll just be 5 more once we get 3 more donations. Now, perturbation. So your perturbation is an internal anxiety or uneasiness. Very interesting. Okay, so Theocrats and plutocrats have the same perturbation or the inner uneasiness. Is that like he's saying... Oh. Hello. No, did someone else donate? Again? No. Another guy just commented. Based until people dissolve it so much that it becomes... Let's kill the demiurge in Super Saiyan Battle 4chan. I don't know, does that make it even more based though? Oh damn, Morgoth. Donating another 5. Thank you very much. Thank you. 13. We've got 13 donations, guys. 13 donations. Oh my god, our tuition just showed up. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm here to save the day. So 14. One more donation, and we get to 15. This is the closest. 6 more. 6 more. And we will get the bookshelf tour. You will get a bookshelf tour of my bookshelf. Good God. Are they going to do it? Are they going to make it? Man, I'm gonna have to use like maybe my wife's phone because she's got a better camera. God damn it, guys. We really good, but we might not make it. We might not make it. We just need a couple more. Anyway, I gotta just keep talking though. Find out next episode in Dragon Ball. Yeah, I'm ending here, guys. No, I'm kidding. We still got an hour left. So we've got an hour. Oh, hello. Tyler leading the way. We made it to 15. We are 3/4. 3/4 of the way. We have made it, basically. This is the farthest we have ever gone. Just 5 more. Just 5 more. What is this? Like, it's just $5 to get into a donation, right? It's just $5. If anyone hasn't donated before, all you need is a $5. Just drop a $5 and that's it. Because it's like, what is it? 5 more? What's 5 times 5? It's $25. Well, it's $25. That's like 25 cheeseburgers, huh? What's $25? Would you pay me $25 to do a bookshelf tour? I mean, that's all it takes. That's all it's gonna take now, guys. That's all it's gonna take. Okay. I need to keep going. The difference between the plutocrats and the theocrats, there is only this, that the first act upon their surroundings for satisfaction of their Hasnamusian needs. Okay, that makes sense. And that's interesting. 2 types of Hasnamusian. It's like one wants to influence the surrounding, and the other Hasnamusian likes to influence the internal worlds of people. Maybe let's see if he's making that divide. And so it needs through that function, which is called among them trust, while the second acts through the function which has gradually replaced in your favorites the sacred function that serves all 3 brained beings as one of the 3 sacred paths for self-perfecting. This function they call by the name faith. Ooh, Internet Explorer. First donation as well. In Canadian dollars as well. Carly Rae Jepsen is a skinny legend. Okay. Look, you know, I got nothing to say bad about Call Me Maybe. It's iconic. I'll admit that. Thank you for the that's a first donation as well. And 16, guys. Guys, we just got our 16th donation. There are 4 more off. $20 off of a bookshelf tour. We have $20 off. I just wanted to put that out there. So, outer Hasnamusians function on trust, or manipulating people's trusts. Inner Hasnamusians function on manipulating the self-perfecting being impulse in 3 brain beings named faith, but they manipulate it and warp people's faith. Very interesting. That's right out tuition. Guys, $20. $20 stands between you and absolute peak bookshelf excellence. In order that you should obtain a more complete notion about these Theocrats, it will be sufficient if I relate to you. Let me finish this. If I relate once more one of the sayings of our highly esteemed Mullah Nasser ad-Din concerning these Theocrats, he once uttered something very strange. Actually, I ought to just read this more. Namely, he said, "Isn't it all one to the poor flies how they are killed by a kick of the hooves of horned devils or by a stroke of the beautiful wings of an angel." Hold on. I gotta get back to reading that, but I just gotta address what happened in chat. Free find coming in, dropping a $5. Your art of the deal is showing. Sorry to keep interrupting. We'll never finish till the goal is won. And then Kimberly K, let's see these books. And then Morgoth dropping a 20. 4th more. And out tuition. Out tuition. Dropping the last $5. We've made it. Everyone, this is an iconic episode of Beelzebub's Tales. That's it, guys. That's it. After this, I'm getting up and I am going out and I'm filming the bookshelf. Oh, dropping another one from Ghoul. Thank you. Coming in as a celebration. Maybe the real bookshelf was the friends we made along the way. Good Lord. Good. We made it, guys. We made it. Cakes in the chat. Everyone, where's that where's the emoji that's like... That's just like a trumpet blasting. Do we got that anymore? I think they changed it. Oh well. No more stable emojis. Anyway, you felt the the spirit of generosity flow. We made the goal, guys. We made the goal, and you know what? We couldn't have done it without this team effort. Without the team effort. As thank you. Truly the Shadow Wizard Money Gang. Adamu in the chat. Dave Overman, the Judgment card. Hell yeah. This is crazy. This is crazy. What a group we have here, guys. What a group we have here. Alright. Wow. I just feel like a cigarette now that we met. That was a journey. That was a journey. Oh, is it the equinox coming up? Nah, surely we just came out. I feel like we just came out of summer here. Yeah, we love viewing bookshelves. Shadow Wizard Money Gang, we love viewing bookshelves. I guess I could. But that would mean I'd have to like take each of my books off my bookshelf and comment on all of them, and but I haven't read all of them as well. That's the other thing. So it's just going to be a bookshelf tour, just me going through and like maybe why I bought a book, or if I have read it, I'll say a bit about it. This truly was a Beelzebub's Tales reading group, says another guy. Indeed. Indeed. We made history today. We made history. What's my favorite book on sigils, asked David? You'll find out in the bookshelf tour, baby. You'll find out. Okay, let's get back to it. So, Mullah Nasruddin. What's my sun sign? What's the sun in right now, sun-wise? Anyone know? I don't know, Davey. Anyway, chat can answer that. I'll keep going. So, namely, he said, isn't it all one to the poor flies how they are killed, by a kick of the hooves of devils, or by a stroke of a beautiful wings of a divine angels? Isn't it all one to the poor flies how they are killed? So it doesn't matter if an angel or a devil kills a fly, to them they're dead, or they've been swatted. It doesn't really matter. They're not on the proper scale to appreciate good or evil. Very interesting, actually. That's very interesting, because there's this whole thing about good and evil and being a moral relativist and whatnot, but I think there is something to be said of, there may be an objective good and evil, but you're not at the proper scale of being to understand it. You actually need other people who are more internally developed. That's why maybe not giving sacred traditions like a staunch traditionalist veto against everything, but giving sacred scriptures and tradition a voice when you kind of calculate what is the moral thing to do or not. That might be the way to go, kind of thing. Not that they're going to be right 100% of the time, because you can never author a book that's like, this is how you live your life perfectly in all ages and epochs forever. But like, there should be some eternal perennial stuff. But how the eternal interacts with the temporal is the key. Now, and concerning those types, there whom all others call Democrats. Okay, here we go, guys. We're gonna hear now, right here, right now, what Gurdjieff has to say about the Democrats. Let's go. It is first of all necessary to tell you that these types, there do not always come from the, so to say, hereditary intelligentistics. For the greater part, they... I know I pronounced that wrong, but I don't care. For the greater part, they, in the first place, happen to be simple, ordinary, terrestrial beings, and only afterwards, when they chance to become intelligentsics, and when, with functions present in them, degenerated also from the sacred function of conscience, almost the same proceeds in them as among the future plutocrats and theocrats. They are transformed into just these Democrats. So this is very interesting. So he basically says of Democrats, they're not necessarily people who are hereditary intelligent, that come from this lineage. It's interesting, intelligent six, it's almost like he's saying intelligence and then followed by sick, as in vomit. As in they stuff their mind so full of books they become sick. For the greater part in the first place happen to be... So Democrats start off as ordinary people, just like you and me. Just like you and me. Just AOC, just started off knocking door to door. Put it in the hard miles, but after a while, their being in office, their functions degenerate, and specifically their conscience closes. And they basically take on the same characteristics as plutocrats and theocrats. Very interesting. So that's what all Democrats are. They are just creatures of bureaucracy. Very interesting. Here, it might as well be remarked that when some of these Democrats, for some reason or other, occasionally occupy the places of power of the power-possessing beings, then a very, very rare cosmic phenomenon sometimes occurs from their actions. Namely, as Muller Nassereddin says, the very corns turn pedicures? What the... The very corns turn pedicures. So does that mean... Is he trying to say... Like a pedicure is when someone gets their nails done. The corns turn pedicures. Oh, so the corns on people's feet. Okay. So a very, very rare cosmic phenomenon every now and then happens when a Democrat takes power and their conscience may reassert itself. And something that was a corn, something that was basically just going to be a bureaucratic plutocrat, actually, their conscience activate and they actually do become someone who wants to do good. Maybe he's saying that. Let's see what he says. This is actually interesting. Sorry, out-tuition in the chat, the learned fool who forgot how to think and only remembers the mundane and the minuscule. Yeah, it sounds like that, kind of like that. When you said the learned fool, for a second there, I thought you were talking about Lord of Mysteries, because I've just been reading that recently. I'm like, what? Huh? Tarot Club? Anyway, and this rare phenomenon occurs, in my opinion, because when the Democrats, their chance to occupy the places of the power-possessing beings, they have in themselves no inherited aptitudes at all for instinctively being able to direct others. And in consequence, they are quite unable to direct the existence of beings who happen to be in their power. So yeah, so that's interesting. The rare phenomenon, opinion, occurs when the Democrats. So this rare phenomenon occurs when Democrats chance to occupy places of power. They have in themselves unfortunately, they have in themselves no actual aptitude for leadership, and that's kind of true. You look at the Democrats now. I'm going to say something controversial. People might hate me for this. Donald Trump knows how to run a business, and because he knows how to run a business, he knows how to, manipulate, he knows how to force, and he knows how to lead. And you see that, and I'm not making a call here. I'm not saying he's good or bad. I'm just saying, like, when you see him in Pennsylvania, those people are fucking cheering. He is functionally a leader. Whereas when you get an admin person who's there not because they're a leader, but because they have a title, and they're used to ordering people around and having them follow their orders, when shit hits the fan, those people actually aren't used to leading. And when people question their leadership, they're not used to that. They're not a leader. So they will act in rage when people question them. They will make bad decisions. They won't be able to lead well. And that's kind of, you see the falling apart and the implosion of the Democrats kind of in recent years. I mean, I maintain. I'm not really into politics, but I maintain, like, you know, if Bernie was the guy in 2016 instead of Hillary, that map would have been blue, and none of this epic fucking timeline that we've had up until now would have ever eventuated. But, like, they just couldn't get their shit together. Internal corruption, and it is what it is. We're on the timeline that we are now. If only they had less admins and they had real leaders, then Democrats could actually make change when they come into power. But they don't. What are we talking about in chat? Lord of Mysteries mentioned. That sheet rhymed. That was tight. What did I say? That rhymed? King in yellow and the black who wields good luck. That book has so... that Lord of Mysteries has so much references in it. There was one... the last part I read was it he went to that, like, party with his neighbors, and the daughter was, like, doing some, like, mirror divination, and he had to, like... but she accidentally, like, summoned some demon, and he had to, like, do some, like, counterspell in her, like, breaking it into a room and stuff. But there's this whole thing when he's talking to Elizabeth, and he's like, give a knock and give it like this. And the knock he gives is literally a Freemason secret knock. And I'm like, bro, because there's, like, you know, references to Taro, there's all of this alchemical references, and like, with all of the potions and stuff, and then there's the King in Yellow reference, and then he does the knock reference, and I'm like, nah, but dog, this guy's researched his stuff. Like, that's a full-on, like, proper Masonic knocks. That's one of the secret knocks, like, that Freemasons give. And I'm like, damn, this guy knows his, like, hermetic Western tradition. And he's like a random Chinese author? Like, where do they get this stuff? Anyway. Props to Lord of Mysteries for being fire. Absolute fire. Out tuition. So they're used to giving orders and not being leaders under pressure. Yeah, exactly. That's the criticism. That seems to be the main criticism that Gurdjieff is giving to these Democrats. They're just not leaders under pressure. So when they may have good intentions, but when they get into leadership roles, it may not even be that they're corrupt. It's just that they're incompetent to Gurdjieff. Now, our priceless teacher, Mullah Nassereddin, has also, for these terrestrial types, a corresponding sentence. Each time he recites it, he first raises his arms to heaven, and only then, with great reverence, pronounces, Thanks be to thee, great and just Creator, that by thy abundant and just grace, it is so ordained that cows do not fly like pretty little birds. Huh. That's an interesting... oh, okay. I guess because the cows wouldn't do well... That's actually funny. One, cows wouldn't do well flying, but if they could fly like pretty little birds, they would dump huge shits all over everything. He's basically saying, that's actually an epic fucking saying. Oh my god. This Mullah Nassereddin saying is, thank you for not giving cows the ability to fly, or else everything would be covered in shit. That is so good to describe why Democrats shouldn't be allowed to come to office. This is why democracy doesn't work, because it allows cows to fly like pretty little birds. That is such a good line. That is such... I'm remembering this forever. I'm just going to copy this one. This is like going into the bank of like some of my favorite Gurdjieff things. Oop. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. If you let cows fly, everything will be covered in shit. Now, my boy, from the various intelligence 6 enumerated by me, it remains for me to tell you about those terrestrial types whom the other beings called Zeocrats. Okay, so this is the one that Gurdjieff made up. Let's see what he says about this. And aristocrats, sorry. So whom the other beings call Zeocrats and aristocrats. So Zeocrats and aristocrats seem to be related in Gurdjieff's etymology, who are distinguished by their cognomens given to them, such as Emir, Count, Khan, Prince, Melek, Baron. Okay, so these seem to be titled people. So unlike plutocrats, so bureaucrats, plutocrats, theocrats, democrats, these are people who work in certain certain systems where maybe the public have a vote, whereas this is more feudal systems, monarchic systems, where people get titles. So what's the difference between a Zeocrat and an aristocrat? But nonetheless, let's see. Baron, so on. So these, the consonants of which, for some reason or other, acts extremely pleasantly on the function of your favorites, which is always very strongly expressed in them, which remains in them up to their very death, and which, oh, I just like spat on my computer screen, which is called vanity. Ah, so the problem with aristocrats, the aristocrats, they just get too vain. They just get too vain. Hey, Cactus, late to the party. We had an epic donation sesh in chat, Cactus. We got like... Oh man, if you want to watch the replay, you gotta watch the replay. It was an epic countdown. Bro, we made it to a bookshelf tour, Cactus. We're getting a bookshelf tour. Yeah, you missed the flying cows and the library tour, bro. Anyway, so the main thing here is vanity. The main defect is vanity, or the problem that arises is vanity. And I must frankly, confess to you that it is very difficult to explain about these types. I mean, it's still, you know, Cactus, there's still time to donate. You can still donate if you want to, and just pretend like we're on 19 now, Cactus. Just one more, and we get that bookshelf tour. Cactus, just donate. Be a part of the team, Cactus. The Shadow Wizard Money Gang. I should make that like one of the tiers. I'll make a new tier in the memberships just called like Shadow Wizard Money Gang. I must frankly confess to you that it is very difficult to explain about these types. They're not only in ordinary speech, but also in the language of our most wise Mullah Nasruddin. The most we can say of them is that they are simply jokes of nature. Ooh. Again, I am asking for your donation. So I'm just reading chat. But anyway, no, this is interesting. Going back to what we were saying. Going back to Gurdjieff. Mullah Nasruddin's sayings here, just packed with wisdom, bro. Packed with wisdom. The most we can say of them is that they are simply jokes of nature. I keep on wanting to say aristocrats. Aristocrats and Zeocrats are jokes of nature. So people who are born and then you just get the title of Baron. It's like, they're just jokes. Jokes of nature. Let's see what he says. Let's see what he says. Not refined gentlemen. They are jokes. Still, I must say that although both these types there among your favorites are called differently, yet in fact these same aristocrats and Zeocrats are similar in every respect and have exactly identical inner properties. Are similar? Yeah, okay, so what's the difference? Remember, I have already told you that they're on your planet, in various communities. There exist two kinds, as is said there, of state organization. Okay. Did he mention this? When did he mention state organizations again? That wasn't back in Atlantis. Was he mentioning this back in prehistory Babylon in Tikliamish? You see, in Tikliamish, I remember him talking about the guys talking about souls. And then when he went down to Maraplesi, I remember he was talking more about science. And when he went to India, he was talking more about religions, because then he took a detour to Tibet and talked about Buddhism. When did he talk about state organization? Did he talk about that in the Russia chapter? Man, Look, I've been recording all of these, so I'm gonna have to go back through some of my own live streams. Be like, when was this? One is called a monarchic state organization, and the other a republican. Oh, very interesting. So he just synthesizes all political theory. Sorry, communism, down to monarchy and republicanism. That's very interesting. I guess he just wasn't very... I guess communism just doesn't work. So he's like, yeah. I mean, what happened in Russia, communists took over, and when Lenin took over, the problem was the working class didn't have an intellectual utopianist ideal of their outcome. They just wanted a bigger piece of the pie. So Leninism really is just like an elaborate unionism with extra steps. It wasn't actually communism. And then, you know, Stalin took over and whatever. So I guess communism, it's not that it's never been tried, it's just that it literally cannot be tried, and so he just doesn't bother. Hey! Oh, whoa! Cactus! Donating 10, $9.99. Thank you very much, Cactus. Thank you very much. And this does go towards the bookshelf tour. Let's pretend that the bookshelf tour was like actually like 22. And like Cactus came in. Cactus, we did it. Bookshelf tour. It's on. It's on. Oh, year 11. I get Y11. That's your name, by the way. I guess you're year 11? Is that what you want to be? Y11? Year 11? Prince chapter 1 question mark? Is that where this quote is from? One is, there are only two states of organization. One is called monarchic, the other is called republican. Oh, another guy asks, sorry for the late response, can you explain what the King in Yellow reference is in Lord of Mysteries? Is it in real life? Well, look, I've only seen it mentioned once in Lord of Mysteries, because he just adds that onto his title, right, when he gets, fucking Audrey and... Who are the two guys, Justice and Hanged Man, to, like, contact him in that ritual? The King in Yellow in real life is Lovecraft reference, which he got from another guy. The reference is a literary reference, which is, The King in Yellow is a play that if you read, you go insane and you die. But you die in some mysterious way. And so, it's kind of like, you know, The Ring, the concept of The Ring, but as a book. And it's like scrawled, and there's also a symbol, the yellow seal, and it's described very kind of oddly, and if you look at the seal, that kind of like makes you go crazy as well sometimes. And there's this whole thing with artists. Bohemian artists are all influenced by this book. Like, they'll do something and their play will be this big play, and like, it's amazing, and then the artist dies mysteriously and they have this book. And Lovecraft adapted that to his mythos, and there's this whole dream, and there's this connection with Carcosa in the Dreamlands, and it's kind of like Carcosa is supposed to be like the graveyard of God, or God is literally dead, and Carcosa is a city made of his corpse or something. I'm actually tripping balls trying to re-remember this lore, but the whole kind of gist of it is the King in Yellow is literally... is kind of, basically you could say, it's kind of, he doesn't seem to be an elder god like Cthulhu is, or like an old one, or an elder god like Cthulhu, or Yog-Sothoth, blah, blah, or however you pronounce that. How do you pronounce Nyarlathotep, the other guy? He's not an elder god like the black pharaoh, and he's not a deep one like Cthulhu. The King in Yellow is just this odd entity, and it seems like, is he in the physical world and he's coming to... Sorry, is he in the physical world and he's trying to make a portal to our planet, so he's on another planet trying to come to ours? Like, is he alien, or is he interdimensional, like he's in Carcosa, this mental space, and he's a part of, like, he is literally the corpse of God, or this dead being or something? But he telepathically manipulates specifically artists, and it's a very interesting kind of concept. But you know, I haven't read all of the Yellow, you know, King in Yellow things, but he's referenced a bunch. You can watch like a bunch of lore videos online. I'm trying to remember, I can't remember the Lovecraft story season. The one that's coming to mind is The Unknown Quest for Kadath or something. The Dream Quest for Unknown Kadath. That was a Lovecraft one where the guy goes into the Dreamlands, he astral projects, And he like is trying to find this dream city, and randomly the King in Yellow just shows up in that one, hella random. But the King in Yellow, yeah, he kind of just gets name dropped every now and then, but obviously his lore has been built out and people use him in a bunch of things, and he's in a bunch of games now, and then it's just like randomly they drop the King in Yellow line in Lord of Mysteries. So the guy who wrote the Lord of Mysteries, clearly he's read a lot of Western literature as well. That's the thing about Lord of Mysteries, is it's supposed to be a light novel, but I'm reading it and I'm like, no, the thing about this is, you have to realize, and why it has a slow start, it's not a light novel. It's just straight up a novel. It just happens to be, I guess, what was it, like, written light novel style, so like one chapter weekly. It's just written progressively, but I don't know, he's clearly planned this out. But like, yeah, it's basically a light novel that reads like a novel. That's what Lord of Mysteries is. Anyway, trippin' balls. What's chat saying? Thank you, Cactus. You did it. You saved us. What are your thoughts on the system? Asks out. Oh, hello. The Vanguard, for the Vanguard type beat. Oh, is another guy in Out Tuition having a talk on Lord of Mysteries now? Audrey and Alger. Oh, that's the names. Audrey and Alger. Yeah, the Hanged Man and Justice. Yo, quick question. What's up with ants on the moon? I heard you talk about it and didn't know the context. Oh, self-dribbling basketball in the chat asked about ants in the moon. So in previous chapters, Beelzebub talked about life on other planets, and randomly he mentions beings on the moon. And in that breath, he's talking about humans, and he's saying, you know, humans exist on the Earth, and they're kind of like apes, whereas beings on Saturn, they are more like what beings on Earth would call crows. And then he randomly mentions moon creatures, and he says they're like what humans would call ants. But so there's a sentient race of aliens on the moon that are ant people. And it's ultra random because there's like a 1920s like black and white movie about ants from the moon, and I'm like, did Gurdjieff see that and was just like, fire idea, bro, and like put it in? Is that where he got that from? Anyway. Beyond the Walls of Sleep at Owl Creek Bridge. Oh, are these the year 11? Are these the Yellow King fiction stuff? It's Out Tuition. Definitely not end of the system. Watch True Detective Season 1. I just have no time to watch stuff. By being utilized. I want to watch that movie with like the schoolgirls that you guys mentioned. Fucking Greys on the dark side of the moon, says Adamu. Exactly. Oh, it's talking about astrology system. Okay. All good. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, now, back to what we were talking about. Sorry, big tangent there. Jesus. I've hardly read any of this today. We've had some massive stuff going off in the chat. In the communities where a Republican state organization exists, these types are called Zeocrats. Okay. So aristocrats live in monarchies, Zeocrats live in republics. But where a monarch state organization exists, they're called aristocrats. Okay. So how do these Zeocrats arise? Trying to give you at least some notion about these two terrestrial types, I think it will be best if I tell you about one of my embarrassments, which occurred to me every time when, being on your planet, I accidentally happened to meet these misconceptions at chance meetings with them. One thing chiefly surprised me. How could this kind of terrestrial three-brain being type exist on your peculiar planet almost as long as the other three-brain beings there? Such a question was evoked in me by the beings there who belong to the caste of the Bureaucrats, yet nevertheless, as regards them, one might still explain this to you, at least more or less, although the series of experiencings in them is also very limited. Yet, at any rate, they actually have them... They have them at least for every hour of the day and night. Okay. Is everyone still talking about astrology? Oh, Cactus, I think I finally understand your stance on psychedelics. I realize that I also am trying to bring the mystical and magical back into the real world, way to access higher consciousness in a regular life in a reliable way. Okay. Cool. All the experiencings, however, of these aristocrats and Zeocrats... Sorry, I'm just not commenting more on it because I'm like, I need to get through this. Thank you, Cactus. Zeocrats there, according to my observation, can be reduced to only 3 series. Okay. The first concerns the question of food. Okay. So with aristocrats and Zeocrats... Okay, so is this the difference between aristocrats and Zeocrats? So the food. The second consists of the recollections associated with the former functionings of their sexual organs. Recollections. Okay. And the third relates to the memories of their first nurse. Okay. Very well. How the beings who have, in all, only 3 series of such experiencings, could have the length of their existence the same as other beings on the surface of your planet will always, for me, be an insoluble puzzle. Huh. So he's saying it's odd that they only live as long as the rest of us. That's very interesting. It is said that about this same puzzling question, that is about how these terrestrial types manage to exist on the surface of the planet. Even the great cunning Lucifer once grew very thoughtful, and he grew so intensely thoughtful that all the hairs of the tip of his tail turned quite grey. About these mentioned, so to say, jokes of nature, it remains for me only to attempt to explain to you why such a sharp difference exists in their names of one and the same kind of being. So they're basically the same kind of being, but those are the 3 differences. I said attempt because I myself do not know exactly the cause of it yet. Knowing the roots of both words from which these names were formed, I think I can presume with great certainty that it was obtained thanks to a certain custom existing there. I must tell you that your favorites there, for some reason or other, delight in something arranging what are called puppet shows. Okay. For some reason or other, I love a Punch and Judy. For some reason or other, it also pleases them that these same Zeocrats or aristocrats should also take part in these puppet plays of theirs, and accordingly, they drag them also into these puppet shows. Huh. As these beings there are in themselves already quite vacuous and consequently feeble, it becomes necessary during these puppet shows for other beings of the given community to support them. And simply from the method of their supporting, that is to say, by which arm they are supported, the difference in name was obtained. In the communities, namely where monarchic state organization exists, it has already long ago been the custom to support them with the right arm, and hence in these communities such types are called aristocrats. Hold on a second. And simply from the method of their supporting, by which the difference in name was obtained in the communities, namely when the monarch, it had already long ago been custom to support them with the right arm. Huh. And the communities in which a republican state organization existed, they're supported with the left arm, and hence they are called Zeocrats. Okay. Arist and Zevro are left and right. Okay. Okay, is there some kind of meta-political left and right wing thing here going on? Leo Duckworth in the chat. I watched your video on 10 books for beginners, and I plan to read Dayspring of Youth and the Candle of Vision as they stand out to me the most. Do you have other recommendations that complement these nicely... Rip, I can't type. Also love the channel. Oh, thank you for loving the channel. I'm doing the best that I can. You want some other recommendations? I'm actually gonna make... I was thinking about making another top 10 books for beginners video, but now I have to do a goddamn bookshelf tour apparently. So, depends what you're into. I guess by what you're into, those that Western kind of tradition. It's gonna be in my video, but I've recently read The Magic Door by Pantano, and I actually just think that's fire, and I'm gonna just like mention that from, I'm just gonna scream the, what do you call it, scream positivities, positive reviews, what do you call it, when compliments from the roofs, scream compliments from the rooftops about that book. The Magic Door, it's The Magic Door, right, by Pantano, on the italic tradition, because this is the thing, people when they think of Western magic, they usually think Golden Dawn, which is British, or they just go French-German. So it's the Frenchies, like Eliphas Levi in that tradition, or they go the Germans, and it's all like traditional Rosicrucianism. But here's the thing, the italic tradition, they got some hot stuff. Hot stuff. Giordano Bruno, Dante Alighieri, and all the way back to those classics. And it's just, that book, The Magic Door, is a lineage of that, going to modern day. And it's just, mwah. And you know, it's not necessarily going to be the most practical thing, but he just fills in a lot of gaps if you do have practice already. And also, they do like Hermeticism, like creme de la creme, because the thing is, it's the Italians that resurrected Hermeticism. The Germans, with their kind of mysticism, you know, Jakob Boehm and that kind of stuff, it was the fusion of their mysticism and the Renaissance Italian Hermeticism that made Rosicrucianism. And then, you know, the French just came in and did their thing. But really a big part of it is that those Italians, and that doesn't really get a look in, you know, Cagliostro and his, you know, Egyptian rite, you know, started in Italy. You know, Julius Evola, the group, the Cremires and the Miriam, like all of those groups, they got some solid Hermetic stuff, bruh. Like for real. So I recommend that for real. Adam Gurdjieff has an enviable moustache. Indeed he does. Bro got billions and billions of videos ideas. Yes, I goddamn do, and just not enough time to film them all. I actually have one already recorded that kind of like I'm in the middle of like cutting up, but I'm not gonna be, I have to do some other videos first, so it's just gonna be on the back burner for ages. It's about like comparing the reincarnation techniques used by Crowley and Dion Fortune. That video is going to be on the back burner for, I mentioned it here, but like, good luck if you get it this year. For reals. Out tuition. Why do the Italians go so hard for real? It's the Hermeticism. They just do Hermeticism right. Adamu. Italian magic has a fatal flaw. It's easy to counterspell by breaking spaghetti in half. Yes. And yeah, Bruno mentioned, of course, and that's facts. Now, we're learning about Zeocrats and aristocrats. Zeocrats exist in republics. Aristocrats exist in monarchies, and it seems Zeocrats always lean left and aristocrats always lean right. That's very interesting. I think that's what he's saying here with the support of the right and the left arm. Which is interesting because who's the aristocratic class in America? You know, it's who are people that you can't fire from their positions. It's, you know, kind of like people in almost like media positions in, you know, the stars, Hollywood, and a lot of them are left-leaning. So it's very interesting. They're the Zeocrats that run the nation, really. Out tuition. Why do Italians speak with their hands? Are they casting spells? Yes. Concerning in general, a similar difference in the names there of terrestrial beings, another remarkable saying of our wise Mullah Nasruddin comes to mind, which he himself told me personally. Once we spoke about the difference in legal proceedings and in the sentences passed down between the Turkish and the Persian Qazi, that is, magistrates, and concerning the equality of their justice, he then said, "Ik, my dear, Is there such a thing anywhere on earth as a wise legal examination of men's guilt? The Kazi are the same everywhere. Only, is this still Mullah Nasruddin? Only their names are different. In Persia, they are called Persian. In Turkey, Turkish. And that is just as it is everywhere on Earth. Donkeys are alike. They are only differently called. For instance, the species of donkey breeding in the Caucasus is called Karabaghian. And precisely the same kind of donkey breeding in Turkestan is called Kurasian. Or Kurasnian. It's the Kuras ending in an N with an Ian. Kurasanian. There you go. I got it. Got it right there. Donate for that Kurasanian. And this wise sentence of his was thereafter always imprinted in my brain. And during my existence on your planet, I always remembered it when I had my comparison to make. May his name be praised forever on that planet where he arose and was formed. And so, my boy. That was, we got an and so, my boy, like, solidly in a line of its own. Been a long time since we had one of those. So I'm just reading chat again. Leo Duckworth. We'll look at that TYTY. From what I've been looking at, I keep seeing people say meditation is important. How important is meditation? What do you need from the eastern side of things? Because West is the best. Lol. Ha 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 ha. So yeah, here's the thing about that. Technically, you could kind of get away without learning meditation, but you're gonna need to learn some kind of introspection. And I slap down, I have a specific practice. And here's the thing, it's hard to learn meditation without a group. The best way to learn meditation is either by yourself, is to either go hard on visualizations or go hard on mantras. And it's hard because there's something to say about visualizations being kind of doggy doo-doo, but at the same time, there's a proper way of doing them. And mantras, they kind of do work. But yeah. And then there's like, which ones do you go for? Like I mentioned, like Yellow Book by Samael has a couple of mantras in. You can just kind of go with that. Visualizations, look, you want to learn Western meditation? Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Barden, but that's another book that you're going to add to the stack, and it's a big boy. That one's a system in and of itself. Like, if you get that book, forget about doing Golden Dawn, just throw that shit out. Just read Initiation into Hermetics and just do that. The whole point is, with Western magic, you don't need to go into meditation as balls deep as they do in the East, because the gap is filled with ceremonial magic, specifically not working with elementals or chthonic deities or Goetia. It's working with the celestial entities, working with either planetary intelligences or Olympic spirits. Basically, you're either going to be working with like Heinrich Agrippa, or you're going to be working with Arabattle of Magic. Just the Olympic spirits or like the planetary intelligences, or both. Switch them up week to week. Just get... As long as you do some kind of work, the whole kind of point is you're not necessarily calling angels for a thing. Like, yo, angel, yo, Mikhail, hook me up with a chick, or get me more money, please. I need money. You're hooking up with the angels, and you're trying to feel the differences in their presences. And the feeling of that difference is energy. And where do we get energy from? We get energy, we get knowledge when we interact with people. When you interact with someone and you think of them later, an image corresponds to when you think of your friend. Angels, when you interact with them, they're invisible unless you've got some balls deep, you got some good clairvoyance going. You don't necessarily see an image. What you're looking for is more that somatic impact, and that somatic impact, that data going in, will evoke an image within your mind that kind of becomes a placeholder for that angel. So, like, and it will be different for everyone because everyone has different constitutions. So, I don't know, like, working with Jophiel once, I experienced the energy, a somatic sensation, and the image that arose within me was like, it was a bird kind of like an ibis, but it had multicolored feathers, kind of like a rainbow. And so that's the thing, the image you interact with. But you're not like even trying to gain knowledge, you're just trying to get used to the energies, because you're calling those energies continuously. You're working with celestial energies. And this is the thing, you're trying to coat yourself with energies. There's a macrocosm and there's a microcosm within you. And via working macrocosmically with these energies, via magnetic affinity, something is pulled out of you. And you kind of still need to learn to meditate, but not to the perfection of the microcosm Buddha-like, you know, permanent river-like samadhi, you know, fourth, eighth jhana, going into the void, absolute dissolution of the eye. You don't need to do that in the Western system. You need to be collected enough that random memories and bullshit don't assault you while you're doing a ritual. That's the level you need to get at. Concentration in the West is letting the mind loose in a restricted area. And so you are kind of engaged in something, but you are still guarding against, I don't know, sounds from the outside that are going to distract you. Kind of body impulses, memory that comes up, anxieties from the future. You are guarding against the mind, but you are still focused on, say, your ritual or whatever. So you still need that level, and you're still, in the end, doing something in the microcosm. So you still, in the end, should learn a little bit of something, because this is the vessel. We've got this body. There's a reason why demons want to possess you, because you got a physical body. The physical body ain't some trash you're trying to escape from. This is the alchemical vessel you're working with, bruv. Anyway, I'm going way off topic, and we're like getting really close to the end here, and I've barely done 10 pages. Jesus Christ. What's chat saying? I'd be curious. I should do another Q&A episode just so people can ask Q&As there. I'd be curious what kind of chick could Mikhail hook me up with. Adam, bruh. Make up some cool ones. Just put the clairvoyance in the bag, big bro. Okay, and so my boy, I repeat once more, if for some reason or other you have to be on the planet, bear always in mind that the weakness about which I have told you is most strongly developed in the most ordinary intelligentics there and in those who ordinarily spring from them and belong to one or another of the enumerated castes with the names ending in crat. Well now, my boy, we got a double. Oh, after this digression, which I have made for your practical benefit, let us return again to the serious question touched upon. I shall begin with the history promised you about how the Society of Terrestrial Beings, which had as its motto, "The Earth is equally free for all," arose and fell, because the information about this will give you the possibility to understand well just about that first and chief cause why there on your planet this terrible process of periodic reciprocal destruction by these unfortunate three-brained beings of our great megalocosmos must already almost inevitably proceed. So why war is inevitable is what he's going to get into next. I think I'm going to end there for today, guys. I know I only did like 10 pages. Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. But good God, I yapped this. We're already at almost an hour and a half. I yapped. So sorry, guys. Hope you enjoyed the yapping, though. Another guy in the chat, not gonna lie, maybe it would be ideal to have one Q&A per month or so. I guess it's looking like it. Just because I'm doing too much yapping in these streams. Leo Duckworth, yo, TY, I need to take notes. Thanks so much appreciated. Well, it's recorded now. You can review the upload later. Out tuition, them dang crats always cratting up the place. Damn straight. Beware of the Memocrats. No, the Memocrats, Adam, that's the good guy. Tyler, yo, but that yap. Anyway, your chat yearns for the bookshelf. Yes, I know, our tuition, I know. So I'm gonna go get to that right now. I'll get to that right now. Oof. Okay, I'll see y'all later. See y'all in the next one, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you next week. Thank you for all the donations. We made it. Now I gotta think of a new goal. Jesus Christ. Post some new goals in the chat. Post some new goals in the telegrams that we can think of. Let's see what's up. Love you guys. See you later.